Welcome back to Soda City Live. I'm Madeline Stewart and I'm here in our Soda City kitchen. We are going to make one of my favorite things today. It's one of the things that I often bring to cookouts. It can be an appetizer, it can be a little side dish. You can also bring it to a church gathering or make it year round, make it for holidays. It is very versatile. That's why it's one of my favorite things and it's delicious. So if you're struggling to come up with something to take to a get together tonight, you still have time to make this. It's deviled eggs. And let me tell you, it is pretty easy if you know what you're doing. So I'll show you how I do it. And the good thing about these two is, like I said, it's versatile. So you can make them however you like. You can add your own seasonings, whatever you think makes them special. So I've already prepped quite a bit for this. So what I did was I hard boiled the eggs earlier this morning. So I put them in the boiling water with salt and vinegar, and that's going to make the shells easier to peel. So you just let them boil for about 10 to 12 minutes covered on the stove, and then pop them into some ice water. So I've already peeled these and cut them in half as well, you can see. And then you're just going to take the yolks out, and I have washed my hands, so I'm going to show you how I do this. Just pop them right out into a bowl. Here we go. And then what you're going to do next is mash up these yolks and mix in some awesome stuff. I actually made these just last week for our WIS 4th of July cookout. Fabulous. They were gone in seconds, so it's sure to be a crowd pleaser for whatever gathering you have. So here I have finished with this. And the next step is to get a fork. That's the easiest way I found to do it. And just mash up the yolks. And that's going to make it really creamy when you mix in the mayonnaise. And everybody has their favorite mayonnaise. I think a lot of us here in the South like Duke's, and that is definitely my favorite. It's like, I would say pretty mild, but also a little bit tangy. Just mashing this up really nice. So I would say that's about good. And one tricky thing people get on to me about when they ask for my recipe, it's kind of tricky because I don't really use measurements, and that's okay because there's a lot of recipes online. If you need just like a very basic recipe, I just kind of eyeball it. I find that they turn out better that way. That's what I meant to say. So I just eyeballed some mayonnaise. You can use whatever kind you like. If you want to use light mayonnaise, that also turns out good too. So I'm going to mix it in, and you want this to kind of turn out, I would say, like the texture of maybe mashed potatoes. You're just going to mix it with that fork. That's a pretty good texture. And then I also choose to use mustard, and then this is Dijon mustard. You can use honey mustard, I guess, if you like. You can use spicy brown if you want. It is really up to you. It is a choose your own adventure type of thing. So again, I just eyeball however much mustard I think looks right in there. You can also use ground mustard in addition to this or by itself. And I do prefer what I like to call a Southern style deviled egg. So I use sweet relish in mine. I think it is really good and a lot of people tend to like it. So I'm going to add about a good spoonful of sweet relish in there. Mix that in there as well. And I would say the most basic seasonings that you could use in this would be fresh ground pepper. Use a little bit of that. And then onion powder and garlic powder. And I personally don't really care for salt that much. And a lot of people in my family are on a low sodium diet, so that works out pretty well. So garlic powder, onion powder. If you do like a little bit of salt, I would suggest garlic salt. I think that makes it pretty good. So just a little sprinkle of that. I also add in some paprika. Gives it a little extra color, and we're going to add that on top at the end too. And then for a little extra something, you don't have to do this, but I have some no salt Cajun seasoning. Gives it a little something extra. Just a little sprinkle here and there. Let's see what else. And a little bit of Old Bay. And this recipe that I have here, I've been developing since middle school because I am so obsessed with deviled eggs that I would just make them year round just for fun. So that looks like a pretty good consistency. And you can spoon the mixture into your egg halves, your emptied out eggs, or you can get just a regular little sandwich bag and cut out the corner and it makes your own little piping bag. So I'm going to put some of this mixture, try to get it in there. I'm a very messy person. I'm a very messy eater and a messy cook, so we'll see how this goes. I've never done this on camera before. So it's an adventure. So here we have my makeshift little piping bag, if you can see. And I'm just going to put some of the filling into each egg, very easy. The good thing about this recipe, like I said, is it can be very quick, especially if you've done it a lot before. You kind of know what's coming next. And some people don't like hard-boiled eggs, but many people do. So it is a safe bet to take it to your next gathering. And there are a lot of variations too. One time my mom made bacon deviled eggs. Those were awesome. You can add a little spice, maybe some jalapenos chopped up, really whatever you want. And so, like I said, I'm gonna go in again with the paprika. You can also use smoked paprika if you'd like, and just sprinkle a little bit on top to give it that classic color. And that's all there is to it. Just store them in the fridge if you're going to a gathering later on. If you have a pretty, whoa, they almost fell off there. If you have a pretty deviled egg plate, a lot of people have those. That's always nice to use that to display, but that's really all there is to it. I hope everyone is having a fabulous 4th of July. If you haven't planned anything to take, it's always easy to take a dessert, just pick something up at the store or whatever, like potato salad or whatever. But it is fun to make something yourself, and this is very unique. So I hope some of you give it a try. If you do, let us know on our Facebook page.